Hey everyone, this is Kicker. We have Duncan Rhodes. This is Duncan Rhodes, the OG Warhammer TV painter, famously known for his too thin coats. Now he has his own very full line of paint products coming, hitting the road, I think, soon. And of course, he has his very popular Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, which has become very, successful in the past few years. And now they're coming to the U.S. for the first time ever to come to teach classes at the LVO. Duncan will also be paint judging at the LVO. I believe he's participating in a game or two, and he's got a really fun seminar lined up for Thursday night. Um, Duncan, man, thank you so much for coming on air. We really, really appreciate it. How are you doing? Are you excited? You got a lot of things happening right now.
Yeah, a lot going on. Yes, thank you. It's great to be here. It's really great to talk to you. Hello to everybody. Yeah, we've just been having a regular week in the life doing our filming. So it's Tuesday time of recording this, and it's we're halfway through our week's shoots. So we're at that point now where we're like, oh, I hope we finish in time. We'll be
Yeah.
all right. But you always have a feeling every week. So it's nice, like, ooh, it gets you
So
focused.
with your painting academy, you're recording every single week. It's new content being made.
That's right.
Wow.
Yes, we
Awesome.
film Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday every week, and then Thursday, Friday is our admin days to make sure we're on top of everything and ready for next week.
Oh, very cool. Well, before we get into like the deep meat of the interview here, we have to ask you a very important question. We ask all our guests here on Signals from the Frontline, what is your favorite sugary breakfast cereal? You will be judged very intensely based off your selection here, so choose wisely.
All right. Does it have to be cereal?
I mean, if you say granola or like grits or oatmeal, yeah, we're just gonna have to end this interview immediately. Come on, you got some fun cereals over in the UK. What is your favorite
Oh,
breakfast cereal?
well, I don't really eat cereals really. I mean, so phew, bran flakes. I used to eat bran flakes.
Bran
But
flakes,
how
bran
about
flakes.
when I'm in the States and I really like having that super like crispy bacon? It's not
Yeah,
quite cereal, but it is sweet because I don't know what you do. It's really nice. Does that count? Is that
you've
okay?
you've heard it here first, folks. Duncan Rhodes' favorite brand of sugary breakfast cereal is called bacon.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, I'll have some of that in a bowl. You don't have to worry about the milk.
All right, that's fine. We'll let it slide. We'll let it slide. I mean, I will take bacon over bran flakes. I wasn't sure if the bran flakes was a basing material or what here. So okay.
No, it's very boring
Well,
cereal. That's all I can think of. I don't really eat cereal. My
I,
sister used to
I
have.
I am a sugary breakfast cereal connoisseur, so I'm always curious about what our guest picks are.
Do
Um,
you have Frosties over there?
we do. We have Frosties in the and we call them Frosted Flakes, but yeah, Frosties in
Okay,
the UK.
okay.
But yeah, it's funny. We have some cereals that are very similar, but they're named totally different from what you guys
I
have. But
suppose it's the same thing,
yeah,
really. My sister used to have Frosties every morning,
yeah,
and so she'd have them before school. She'd never finish them, and the bowl get left because everyone was gone out to school or work or whatever. And you get
yeah, yeah.
home in the afternoon, and they'd all gone soggy, and the smell lingers in my nostrils to this day. And so I just can't stand Frosties or Frosted Flakes. Oh, they're so, as soon as the milk hits them, it's like,
I will not be bringing you any Frosties when I see you at the LVO. Then,
I
um,
hope not.
yeah, yeah. Duncan, I wanted to have you on here because you've been in the painting world of miniatures for a very, very long time. Maybe you can give us a little bit of your insight on the way that painting has evolved over the years in the hobby. I mean, how has it changed? Is painting easier now thanks to like the miniatures being more defined and easier to paint because the miniatures literally are designed to make them easier to paint? There's also new painting tools or hacks, if you want to call, like contrast paint and some technical paints. How has the hobby changed for you? I mean, is it easier now to become a painter than ever before?
Um, I think it is generally to actually do the mechanics of it. I think it's a lot easier than it was when I was a kid because when I was little, if you want to look at guides, the guides were all very bare bones. It'd be like step one, two, three, four,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you'd be between three and four and be like, how has that happened?
yeah,
And you'd highlight the red with bleach bone.
yeah,
What? That's not what's there. There's lots of things that are just as soon as someone goes, oh, you mix the colours. Oh, okay, suddenly it all starts to come together. But back at that point, this just wasn't thought about.
yeah,
Also, the paints weren't like they are now, where you have ones that are really pigment dense that are
yeah,
designed to colour well. So you had to understand tricks. Like if you want to paint something with a bright red, you'd have to do it brown first of all, and then work your way up to that bright red. So you'd have to go through like four colours to get there.
yeah.
Um, so in that respect, certainly. And with the addition of things like contrast paints, of course, it's got even easier because it can, massive way of staining things to get colours quickly.
Okay.
And also, washers were quite a big revolution, I think,
Yes.
because it was inks before that, wasn't it?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. I used to use
yeah,
inks. Yeah.
yeah. The thing about inks is that if they get wet again, then they reactivate. So you'd put the ink on something to do shading, and then you'd start layering on top of it, and the ink would start moving again. So things like that you forget about, but when you really think back at it, yeah, it was kind of naff dealing with these tools. I think also the internet's revolutionised things because it's very easy
Yes.
just to get guides on anything. If you want to paint a given miniature, there's probably somebody on YouTube who has a video on it. And you can. There's loads of websites dedicated to it as well, and people I think have come to terms with. So going back to those step-by-step guides, if you had a stage where the model looks like a mess, but that is part of the actual process of painting it, in a book, a photograph like that can look really bad. So,
Yeah.
like, well, we can't have a photo that looks bad. We've got to make the model look good. So, but then
Yeah.
that makes the guide invalid when you think about it. So, whilst on the surface level, it's like, yeah, that's great. The actual substance wasn't so much there. So,
Yeah.
I think the industry has progressed past that. I think nowadays it's just much more real as to
Yeah.
what it's like and what you have to do. On the flip side, because of the internet and social media in particular, you have a lot of amazing painters out there, and it can be very easy to look at their stuff and then look at your own and go, I'm never going to be able to do that. And so
Demoralizing. Yeah.
yeah. So I've known a lot of people who have been demoralised in that way, especially when it gets worse when they bring their miniatures to the shop and they find that everyone's painting better than them. Um, so that's I really hate that. I really hate
Yeah.
someone to feel like they can't join in because they're embarrassed about what they painted. So yeah, I don't think it's as bad as what people, what maybe I might think about that. But that aspect certainly is there with social media. But then I think you get out of a lot of things with social media.
You had mentioned the paint pigmentation getting, I guess, more dense and stuff. Is that something special with your new paints? Because I know you've got this brand new line of paint you've been rolling out. I think it started on Kickstarter and totally sold out, and it's going to start arriving in the US, I think, in the next 6 months, 5 months. Is that accurate? You've got this. Yeah.
For retail, it's going to be. I don't know exactly when it'll turn up in retail, but it'll be after all the Kickstarter backers have got theirs, and
Okay.
we had confirmation from Transatlantic Games, who are the people actually making the paints. We're the
Okay.
private license, but we got heavily involved with the development of it, but all the distribution is them, and all the US ones have gone out the building.
Yeah.
My understanding of it is, so they're on the way. So it'll be soon that everyone will have them. And thank you for everyone for your patience. Just been one thing after another with it.
Yeah.
But anyway, the paints are. So when we were developing them, we got really heavily into the actual formulation of them and actually learned quite a lot about what's actually in paints and things. And it's like, wow, stop licking your brushes after you learn all this stuff, let me tell you. But yeah, things like getting the coverage is the thing that always used to drive me crazy back in the day, using paints like blood red and stuff. And even nowadays, there's some paints where the way they behave really frustrates me. So if you ever tried painting salamanders, and you've got warp zone glow is their main color. I think Games Workshop does, which is a nice color, but the paint's very thin. So it's things like that like there's more to it than just the color. There's the way the paint performs. And so in our paints, that was a really big thing that we were heavily involved all the way through. So each one of them had to approve what I'd want it to do.
Perfect.
So yeah, so they're really fun to use. Everyone who's tried them likes them. So I'm glad they're getting out there now, so more and more people can.
And I have heard rumors, for those listening right now that will be attending or thinking about attending the LVO, I think that we'll have a bunch of those for demo use at the LVO. So you can go there, show up on Thursday or Friday if you want to before your tournaments, and go and play with this brand new paint line so you can see just how good it is. I know Duncan was mentioned to me before the show, and I've talked to one of the guys on the back end about this new paint, and it does seem good to be really, really cool stuff because of this, I guess, high pigment and the way the paint is going to be interacting. So it's not just a beautiful color, it functions really well too.
Yeah.
Duncan, we're talking about paint here. What's your favorite paint color to use? I mean, you can use, is there a color that you always go to? You've got a brand new arm and you're like, you know what, I really like this color, and it's always good. You know how to, you never get sick of it. What is that color?
Well, I suppose, so I'm not going to include washers for this.
Okay.
We all know about using brown washers, right?
Yeah.
For actual colors, for a long time, I found myself using Rakarth Flesh. Now, I don't particularly know what this is, because it's not necessarily like I look at that color and go, yeah, I really like that weird sort of browny cream color.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I just find it really useful. It's great for things like parchment, ivory, of which of course and bone, which is going to turn up a lot when you come onto Warhammer miniatures. But also for things that are like historical figures, it's really good canvas color. So it's just a
Oh.
really useful thing for so many things, like padding on armor. Like medieval armor is great for that sort of thing. It works really well as a basis for a white. So if you're doing a color scheme that's going to have white in it, it's fantastic for that. And it's a good alternate. So like when I was doing my House Griffith Knights and they're bone white for the most color. If you want to have a variant on that for heraldry, then Rakarth is just really useful for that. In fact, now I
Cool.
mention it, the desk behind me back over there, we've been painting cultists today, and we've been using Rakarth flesh for the skin. So I don't know why, but I always keep using it.
That's your. There you go, guys. So the Duncan Rhodes' favorite paint color is Rakarth Flesh. I love it. I love it. I was actually just using it yesterday for some dry brushing on the base to pull up the dirt to have a little bit more shine. So I had a dark brown and wanted the top, I guess, coat
Yeah,
of yeah. That's a great paint. Do you apply
I'm not
this with your
sure I
two
could
thin
say.
coats?
Oh, sorry, just to add on that, I'm not
Yeah.
sure I'd say it's actually my favorite color. I
Okay.
just seem to use it all the time, so I don't really know. For actual colors, I think I prefer blues, nice deep
Blues.
blues, things like
Nice
Cantor
blues.
blue, that sort of thing.
Nice, nice,
Yeah,
nice. Yeah,
yeah.
I know,
Sorry.
no, I know, no. And Cantor Blue, there's a lot of blues. I was looking through the collection that I have. I can't fathom that there's that many shades of blue in the world, but apparently there are a lot of shades of blue.
Oh yeah.
Did you because we're talking about applying the paint to thin coats? That's a term that you're kind of known for. Was that one of your like was that an original slogan you came up with? Is this your mantra? Do you have this on a tattoo on your forearm? Where'd this come from?
Somehow, no, I don't. I suppose I will sooner or later. I keep joking that's going to be on my tombstone. The family crest.
Yeah.
No, it was. I think it's because when we started doing the painting videos, YouTube was still fairly young at that point,
Mhm.
and there wasn't really anyone else doing it. So I think because it's just what you do, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I knew it because I've been taught this sort of stuff in the studio. So it's just if someone doesn't tell you and you just dunk the paint on, you get that horrible finish. It's like, why is that happening? And as soon as you do it as two thin coats, you go, now it looks like what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Um, and this is true for like every paint. Like if you get some household paint, like some emulsion on a tin, it will say you stir well, applies multiple thin coats. So
Yeah.
what I found myself doing in the video was in trying to get the tuition across of, all right, so you do this, and it's like going back to those photograph guides I talked about earlier. So you're base coating that bright red for your Blood Angel. The first coat looks rubbish. And it's like, it's okay. It's supposed to look like this. Just apply two thin coats. And the second one, you see when I put that on, it's completely different. That's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
So I think it's just because right place, right time, which I think
Yeah.
is the story of my life. Um, I think it just stuck because of that. And
Yeah.
so in all the videos, because you had to assume each one was the person's first video, I'd say it in each one. And then people started saying it. So I never thought about it as in, I need a catchphrase. Yeah, I want to be, I've always viewed it as still now, the miniature is the star of the thing. And how do
Yeah.
you paint it? Well, you apply your painters of multiple thin coats. And people grabbed that and off it went. So
Awesome.
it didn't bother me at all. I think it's very charming. I really like that people it shows they like the thing. If fun memes like that are made out of it, it shows that people like it. But it's
Yeah.
also the core message, and it means it's sticking in people's heads.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I mean, I will never forget it. I think most people in this hobby that have been in this hobby for any period of time have
Mm.
that phrase, memorized for sure.
Yeah,
So we got two thin coats as I guess a hobby tip. Is there another like tip you want to give people that could really level up their hobby skills? Like if there's something like a quick little like, hey, I recommend you do this so that you can paint a little bit better. Maybe an easy technique. Yes, two thin coats is definitely one of those. Is there another one that you might recommend that people kind of consider?
yeah. Have a try at painting something without using a wash on a particular
Ah,
detail. So, for example, doing a cloak.
yeah,
Try painting that whole cloak without using washers, just using
cool.
different coats of your paint and doing all the shading by manually. Same with painting skin. Try painting it without using washers, and you'll find what it causes you to do is to think more about where your shading's actually going to go, rather than just I don't want to say cheating it with a wash, but
Yeah,
it gets you more in tune with the actual shape of the thing you're doing. And then as you move to the highlights, you'll see suddenly it has a different quality about it. And you'll start to see it looks like more like box art kind of things.
yeah,
So it takes longer to do,
yeah.
certainly, but doing that I find is a bit of a sort of penny drop moment of going, oh, okay, so I can improve
Ah.
my painting by doing that sort of thing.
I love it, man. I'd never heard that tip before, but I'm gonna go try that tonight. Yeah, I mean, because we all become so dependent on the cheat codes, right? The easy button, the wash.
Yeah.
And you're right, going back to the foundation and learning, teaching yourself how to become a better painter by slightly taking a little bit more time and focusing. I like that. I like that. Okay. So what is the most difficult miniature you've ever painted before? I mean, like, is there one miniature that you have nightmares of painting?
I've got a few answers to this.
Okay.
So the most difficult and irritating model I can remember painting was Nobblers for the Ogre Kingdoms.
Yes,
And
those
that's because they were,
little goblin
yeah,
dudes. Yeah.
yeah, it's because they were so soft and it was so difficult to do
Yeah.
the detail on them, and they had so many things on them, and there were so many. And
Yeah.
I remember it was a store job for us to paint them for the store army, and all of us would be desperately finding anything else to do other than painting these Nobblers. It's like, oh, the toilet needs cleaning again. Oh, it's not sparkling, like anything.
Yeah.
Anything at all. It took weeks for this unit to get painted.
Oh,
Um,
oh,
so that's a very personal
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
But in a more professional sense, the bigger models are certainly trickier things. I think the one of the more difficult ones, I mean, there's quite a few. Archaon stands out as simultaneously a very difficult one, but also one that we were really proud of. Because he was such a long-term project. And
Yeah.
I can remember the first time we saw the model in the camera studio, and both Roger and I were there looking at it. And so Roger, the chap I work with nowadays, he just slapped me on the shoulder and said, "You got to paint that. Good luck," and walked off. And I was like, "Oh," I had to, get my pen and paper out and go back and try and work out the theory of painting this thing. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
had one that I could test things, but it was a lot of work to figure all that stuff out and to make it
Jeez.
accessible, just using dry brushing and things. And then we did it, and the model looked amazing. And it's like,
It's done.
that was big pressure. That was.
All right. So we're talking about difficult models. You've in this little interview already, you've mentioned Space Marines a few times, salamanders and whatnot.
Mm.
I mean, at the LVO, you're hosting a seminar of how I paint Marines. So this is a Thursday night before the event seminar, how I paint Marines with Duncan Rhodes. Do you ever get bored painting Marines? You've painted a lot of Marines. I mean, and is armor more challenging to paint than say something that's an organic, a Marine versus an orc? First of all, are you bored with painting Marines because you've been painting these things for years? And are they actually challenging to paint?
I wouldn't say bored. They have so many variations of them. There's always something new with them.
Cool.
I think I found as I've grown, my tastes have gone more towards fantasy and medieval stuff.
Okay.
So I tend not to go for the science fiction armored things these days for my own things.
Yeah, yeah.
But then when they bring that sort of stuff into Space Marines, because there is that crossover, like the Black Templars, that definitely is more nice. So there's always something new for them. There's always I might think, I'm fed up of painting Space Marines. I've done so many armies of them and stuff.
Yeah.
Video on painting a Blood Angel, and in a professional sense, it doesn't matter whether I'm bored of painting Space Marines or not. People want to know how to do that scheme. That's my job. It doesn't matter what I think about it. So as good as possible. So I painted Blood Angel, and I was like, oh, actually, these heresy models look really good in Blood Angel colors.
Yeah.
Some black and gold on them and stuff like that. I could get down with this. Nice. And then you discover there's a Praetor figure that they've made, which I wasn't aware of. I'd completely missed it when it came out. So that's actually pretty cool. Yeah. And I look over at the Sons of Horus and I'm like, yeah, I really do like that green. So it just keeps coming around, more Space Marines. So
yeah.
I don't know. They're always doing something new with them. They're always trying something new. I think I definitely prefer the Legion Astartes appearance of them to the 40k Primaris one. Cool. I think it's because I like the more retro feel to it.
Yeah,
because that's what I grew up knowing. So I think if I was going to do a Marine army, it would be a heresy one at this stage.
Cool. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. Well, hey, Duncan, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. Do you want to maybe tell people where they can find you, learn more about your academy, learn about your upcoming paint? Of course, they'll see you at the LVO, but is there anything you want to, give us some URLs here or something?
Yeah, sure thing. We got a bunch of things. Let me think. We have our website, I should start with, which is duncanrhodes.com. Please forgive the address being my name. That was Roger's idea. Roger's the guy I've been working with for like 10 years.
You're not egotistical at all.
I find it really surreal. I'm wearing a shirt with my name on it. Life's gone very weird. But anyway, this is our membership website where we have loads of painting videos. We've got something like 250 now, covering all sorts of subjects, techniques, various skills, of course, complete models, that are case studies, lots of big models as well. So things that are intimidating, we tend to specialize in those. You can also find us on YouTube at Duncan Rhodes Painting Academy, where you can see a bunch of our videos that we put on there. We upload every 2 weeks, and we put a video like what you see on the website. And we have an Instagram, which is at Duncan J Rhodes. Yes, that's it. Where you can see me posting pictures of random things, or the office dog Gizmo doing something cute. Is Roger and his wife. They've been buying Gizmo little Hawaiian shirts. And
I love it. I love it. We need to
growing
see more photos of dogs in Hawaiian shirts. Gizmo's a great name, by the way.
he looks like a private detective in Miami, Gizmo PI. But as for the paints, you can find out information about our paints on our website at duncanrhodes.com. We've got a whole section on it, and they're made by Transatlantis Games. If you're interested in more information about it, you can pop over to their site, and their contact details are there. And yes, those paints will be appearing in retail in due course after those wonderful Kickstarter backers get those, though, for whom I am eternally grateful for making it happen.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Remember, if you want to learn from the master himself in person at the LVO, there's still some more tickets left. Just a few, though, for his classes being taught at the LVO this January. Thank you again, Duncan, for coming on, and I can't wait to see you soon.
Thanks for having me. See you soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.